2. Phineas Smith is Aunt Angela's son. Aunt Angelina is not my aunt. She's my mother's best friend from girlhood. Her best friend still and next door neighbor. Our mothers had been pregnant together that spring and summer long ago. My mother, respectably so, married to her high school sweetheart for over a year, with numerous pictures of their wedding scattered throughout their house with a fenced-in backyard. My father is never around because of his work, but mother did not mind. She had Angelina. Angelina was pregnant from her lover. He was married and rich and far too old for her. He also refused to believe that it was his child. It, it would take a court-ordered DNA test a few weeks after Phineas' birth to get his father to do the honorable thing, buy Aunt Angelina the house next door to my mother, and after writing each monthly check, pretending that she and the baby did not exist for the next 30 days. My mother did not work, and Aunt Angelina taught art at Vogt Elementary across the street from her duplex, so the summer was theirs to spend. They told us that the summer of their pregnancies, Aunt Angelina would walk over to from her duplex to Church Street, her stomach large and heavy, protruding as if it were leading the way to our large Victorian house on Elizabeth Street, and they would spend the day on the back porch with their feet propped up on the railing. They would drink lemonade or iced tea and only go inside to watch I Love Lucy in the afternoon. They sat close together so that Finny and I could kick each other like twins. They made such plans for us that summer. Phineas was born first on the 21st of September. A week later, likely missing the one who had been kicking me, I came along. It's September. People will tell you that their favorite season is autumn. They will not say this during any other month of the year. People forget September is actually a summer month. In St. Louis, this should be apparent to people. The leaves are still green on the trees and the weather is still warm. Yet people hang smiling scarecrows on their front doors. By the time the leaves and weathers do begin to change in late October, they have tired of autumn and are thinking of Christmas. They never stop. They never wonder if they already have it all. My mother named me Autumn. People say to me, "Oh, how pretty." And then the name seems to glide away from them, not grasping all the things that the word should mean to them. Shades of red, change, and death. Phineas understood my name before I did. My name had what his did not. Associations, meaning, a history. His disappointment when our fourth grade class looked up names in the baby name book surprised me. Every book gave his name a different meaning and origin. Snake, Nubian, Oracle, Hebrew, Arabic, and no, my name meant exactly what it was. There was nothing to be discovered by it. I thought if a name was of a no origin and meaning, it could not disappoint. I did not understand then that a boy without a real father would crave an origin and a meaning. There were so many things that I did not understand about him over the years, but of course, they all make sense now. We grew up in Ferguson, a small town in the suburbs of St. Louis, composed of Victorian houses old brick churches, and a picturesque downtown of shops owned by families for generations. I suppose it was a happy childhood. I was quirky and odd, and I did not have any friends beside Vinny. He would have had other close friends if he wanted. He was good at sports, and nothing was odd about him. He was sweet and shy, and everyone liked him. The girls had crushes on him. The boys picked him first in gym. The teachers called him called on him for the right answer. I wanted to learn about the Salem witch trials for history. I read books under my desk during lessons and refused to eat the bottom left corner of my sandwich. I believed the platypuses to be a government conspiracy. I could not turn a cartwheel or kick, hit, or serve any sort of ball. In third grade, I announced that I was feminist. In fifth grade, I told the class and teacher that my career goal was to move to New York, wear black turtlenecks, and sit in coffee shops all day, thinking thoughts and making up stories in my head. After a moment of surprise, Mrs. Morgensen wrote freelance writer under my smiling Polaroid picture and tacked it on the walls with the cuter teachers and football stars. After consulting her, I agreed that it was close enough. I think she was pleased to have found something for me, but sometimes I wonder if she would have cared as much if I had been ugly as well as odd. For as long as I can remember, people have told me that I am pretty. This came from adults more often than other children. They said it to me when they met me. They whispered it to each other when they thought I could not hear. It became a fact I knew about myself. My middle name was Rose, or that I was left-handed. I was pretty. Not that it did me any good. The adults all seemed to think it did, or at least should, but in my childhood, my prettiness gave more pleasure to the adults than it did to me. For all their children, the defining characteristic was another fact I had accepted about myself. I was weird. I never tried to be weird, and I hated being seen that way. It was as if I had been born without the ability to understand if the things I was allowed to say or do were strange. So I was trapped into constantly being myself. Being pretty was a poor consolation in my eyes. Finney was loyal to me. He taunted anyone who dared torment me, snubbed anyone who scorned me, and always picked me first to be on his team. It was understood by everyone that I belonged to Finney and that we belonged together. We were accepted as an oddity by our classmates, and most of the time they left me alone, and I was happy I had Finney. We were rarely ever apart. At recess, I sat I sat on the hill reading while Finney played kickball with the boys in the field below. We did every group project together. We walked home together and trick-or-treated together. We did our homework side by side at my kitchen table. With my father so often gone, the mothers frequently had one another over for dinner. A week could easily go by with Finney and I only being separated to sleep in our own beds. And even then, we went to sleep knowing the others wasn't very far away. In my memory of childhood, it is always summer first. I see the dancing light and green leaves, Fanny and I under bushes or in trees. Autumn is our birthdays and walking to school together and a deepening of that gold light. He and his mother spent Christmas at our house. My father makes an appearance. His father sends a present that is both expensive and unfathomable. A chemistry set. Custom made golf clubs. Finney shrugs and lays them aside. Winter is a blur of white and cold hands shoved in pockets. Finney rescues me when other kids throw snowballs at me. We sled or stay indoors. Spring is a painting in pale green, and I sit watching from the stands while Finney plays soccer. All the time that became known in my mind as before.